This is 13 in Rochester, WOKR.
Everybody, Tony Destino and Pat Horner ready for another Men's Traveling Classic League show. And Pat, today we've got teams from Marcel's Olympic Bowl and Brockport Bowl. We haven't seen them in a while.
No, we haven't, and this is Brockport's first year in the Traveling League, Men's Traveling League, and it's a split season, and they really didn't perform very well the first half, to be quite honest with you. All of a sudden, they got their team together, they got a little bit of confidence, and this Brockport Bowl team is tough. They've been bowling well, their scores are high, their averages, they're in first place, and they're tough. And of course, Marcel's Olympic Bowl team, these guys have been on the show before, been in the league for a while. I know Nephew, who's here today, had a big string to get his team on this week. So you've got 5 bowlers here. Sylvester Sampson's bowling well right now. So you've got 2 teams that are really performing well, and I expect a high-scoring match.
All right, we saw a lot of strikes in practice, and maybe we'll see that carry over to our one-game match with $300 going to the winners, $100 to the runners-up, all from our friends at Lake Beverages. We begin by introducing our teams. We'll start with the squad from Brockport, and Captain Jeff Phillips will lead them off. Jeff averaging 205. Terry Berthold is second, and Terry's average is 201. Bowling third, Mike Pingryn. Mike's carrying an average of 214. Paul Palmer is fourth. Paul's average 216, and the anchor bowler Jeff Seever, and his average is 200. How about a hand for the bowlers from Brockport?
All right.
All right, and then Marcel's Olympic Bowl will be led off by Captain Jack Curran, and Jack's average is 192. Sylvester Sampson is second. Sylvester 196, his average. Nephew is third, and Jay's carrying an average of 203. The 204 of Bruce Ernisse is next, and David Root will be our anchor bowler. 193 is his average.
Well, Tony, we've got 2 high-scoring teams, and like I said, and you said there was a lot of strikes in practice, so we say we take a break for a Bud Light and see who's going to win the match.
All right, we'll be back after that timeout with our first 4 or 5 frames, okay? Stay around, be right back.
North Park Lanes presents its annual Western and Central New York Bowling Tournament. Over 1,000 teams for both men and women will compete for guaranteed prizes. Submit your entry form today to ensure your team's part in the excitement. And North Park's AccuScore system keeps score automatically. It's the newest, most exciting full-color scorekeeping system available. Form your team now for North Park's Western and Central New York Bowling Tournament. Good times are just around the corner at North Park Lanes, 711 East Ridge Road.
Okay, we're ready to go with our first frame of the match, and we're going to lead it off with the captains, Jeff Phillips for Brockport, Jack Curran for Marcel's Olympic Bowl, and this is Jack, and he's going to go first, and he's on lane 2.
Tony, these bowlers, as we watch Jack's first ball, these bowlers are bowling head-to-head for a point each, 2 points for total for the team. The team winning 4 points or more will be the team that receives the $300 and $100 to the losing team. There's a big strike for Jeff
Phillips. Back on January 3rd, baby boy born to the Phillips residence. Name
How about that?
Does it look like Jesse on the sheet?
Jesse.
Okay. So congratulations to the Phillips on their new son.
I'm sure that's named after Jeff's dad, Jess. Terry Berthold breaks for 8. You know, I will say one thing. I mentioned at the top of the show, this Brockport team has been hot, and this gentleman that you just saw throw the ball has been one of the hottest. Terry Berthold, steady as ever, averaging over 200 in the league, and here's a guy that's bowling well right now, Sylvester Sampson.
Well, Sylvester put on his profile sheet that at one time he entertained the idea of being on the Pro Bowlers Tour, and then he put ha-ha. But Sylvester bowling twice at once at Marcel's Olympic Bowl, the other league at Terrace Garden, his highest average 196. He's got a pair of 300 games, a 767 series, and he's got 2 sons and 2 daughters. Okay.
And no problem for Sylvester.
Now here is 21-year-old Mike Pingryn. He's a junior at the State University of New York at Brockport, majoring in mathematics.
There you see, big power shot for the new kids. And here's Nephew, as I said, at the first 8 or 9 strikes at Olympic Bowl the other day when we were there. In fact, a few weeks ago to qualify to get this team on TV. And Crosses over, and here's Paul Palmer, and this guy here is a monster. You'll see him throw the ball. Boom! Look at the power this guy's got. I tell you, this team from Brockport has got some power players.
Okay. So Jay Nephew after his conversion on the 5, and he's got it. And for Brockport now, that'll bring up their anchor bowler, Jeff Seever, and Jeff averaging 200.
Here's another guy that throws a lot of power. Look at the revolutions on that ball. Didn't quite catch a 10-pin. And here's my friend Bruce Ernisse. You'll see the contrast between the big power players and Bruce. Bruce is more of a down and in player, but I'll tell you what, Bruce is as accurate as you get.
Bruce Ernisse.
Doesn't miss much.
I know I pronounced them in the opening introduction as Ernisse, and I apologize. It's Ernisse, and every time I say his last name, I never get it right. Now that ball fell in the channel, so that's not a conversion for Jeff Seever, because once the ball hits the channel, it's ruled out of play.
There's a difference between the big power ball of Jeff Seever, which he didn't quite control and missed the 10-pin, and the straight ball of Bruce, the straighter ball, I should say, of Bruce Ernisse, who had absolutely no problem picking the spare.
Here's David Root. Oh, we're off to a flying start. 3 marks for Brockport, 5 for Marcel's Olympic Bowl as we move into frame number 2, and Jack Curran switches lanes. This time he's on number 1.
Jack, of course, very involved in the youth bowling here in the Rochester area. He went to the Dick Ritker School for not only to learn more about the game, but to help his own game, but help the kids out. Look at this.
Okay, it all went down. It counts. Strike. All right, and now Terry Berthold back.
Terry, interesting, has a piece of tape, has his ring finger and his baby finger taped together on his right hand.
He's employed at Laser Exchange in Brockport. Bowls 4 times a week. Sylvester.
And again, I think you're going to find as Sylvester gets a little round of applause. He almost left the solid 7-10. Lane 1 tends to hang just a little bit more than lane 2. And whoops.
All right.
And Sylvester just breaks his wrist back and still gets the good revolutions, but the ball doesn't hook. And he has no problem going cross lane at the 10-pin.
Mike Pingryn. And a strike for Jay Nephew. Mike Pingryn, been bowling for 14 years. His hobbies include softball, golf, basketball, horse racing, and he says sleeping. He lives in Auburn, New York, and would like to say hello to his family and friends back there, especially his sister, Kathy, and his brother-in-law, Kevin. He said, who are going to make him an uncle in April.
Terrific.
Now Paul Palmer on 2, and Paul works at Brockport Bowl. He's single, likes fishing and horse racing.
He throws a lot of power.
And Paul Palmer was on our Fun Time Youth Bowling Show 5 years ago and was the king of the hill.
All right, good try, Bruce. So Olympic Bowl having a little bit of problem on lane 1 as Brockport Bowl did.
All right, David Root.
Dave with a good shot out there. 2, 3, 4, 7. Marcel's Olympic Bowl, 9 marks.
Jeff tells me he's trying to grow a ZZ Top beard. He's doing pretty good. Okay.
What a tiger.
Jeff Seever.
So it's a 10-pin lead for Marcel's Olympic Bowl after 2. And now we go back to the lane that Brockport had 3 strikes on the first frame.
All right. 3-timer to start for Jeff Phillips. And Jack Curran. Jack, a retired postal supervisor. And he gets the break on the 9-pin, and it goes over.
There's that good ball from Terry.
A couple of interesting facts about Jack Curran and Terry we'd like to pass along the next time they're around, but we'll take a look now at Sylvester Sampson Jr. Sylvester's a cook.
A lot of power. A lot of power. You're seeing a little bit of each here today, Tony. You got some power players, you got some straight players, and Sylvester's over there making the gesture, and he almost left the 7-10 in that one lane. And you'll find that lane 1 doesn't quite finish as hard as lane 2.
Good shot from Jay Nephew, and Jay, the sales manager at Marcel's Olympic Bowl. He likes graphic arts, music, and of course bowling. I'm reading their little facts about you, Pat. You're the hero of the Marcel's Olympic Bowl team.
Yeah, I know. They're all
hopefully that'll suffice to say.
They're all comedians.
And Bruce Ernisse, respiratory therapist with a strike there. And there's another one from Paul Palmer. All right, David Root.
Well, I said, Tony, we were going to have a high-scoring match today, and it will be.
David works for Paychecks. Single and likes golf and reading.
And he tugged at that one. No doubt about it.
Alrighty.
So 49 in the second for Dave Root, giving him a 20-pin lead over his opponent, this gentleman right here, Jeff Seever. No problem.
Good cover there on the 3-6-10.
We've gone through 3 frames, Tony, and Marcel's Olympic Bowl still holding a 1-mark lead. However, they've got 4 strikes going this frame. This man here from Brockport, Jeff Phillips, on a triple.
How about it? 4 straight for Jeff Phillips. Now we've got Jack Curran and Terry Berthold up, and you're watching Jack, and I want to tell you a little bit about Terry. Here's Jack Curran on lane 1. And he's got 9.
Jack seems to be using a ball that's really scuffed up and really set up the hook quite a bit. And these lanes do hook a little bit. And if you use something very, very soft like he's using, that's sanded up, sometimes the ball hooks a little bit too early for you. And that's what's happening with Jack right at this moment.
No problem on the 5. All right, Terry Berthold's married. His wife's name is Sue. They have a son, TJ, and 2 daughters, Jamie and Kelly. And he's also a drummer in the Marvel Junction Country Western Band. He likes to play hockey with his son in the Tri-County Youth Hockey League. Plays golf with the girls and bowls with the whole family. Sylvester up high.
Well, you got to remember, he almost left the 7-10 in that frame as we take a look at the score. 1 frame ago, he almost left the 7-10. And so he made the adjustment, come in a little bit higher this time, and he comes in, he leaves a 4-pin. And there you see the Brockport Bowl leadoff bowler, Jeff Phillips, with a 4-timer there and 14 marks through 3 frames. .59 for Sylvester, 21-pin lead. There's Mike. Uh-oh.
And the ball hooked away on him, and he chopped. So Jay Nephew now looking for a 3-timer after opening with a spare. Sends it wide. Doesn't get the break. Very animated player.
He's, we have a little Canadian-American group that gets together twice a year as we watch Paul Palmer get a strike, and we bowled against the Canadians at Perry's this year. Jay and I were on the same team, and we really did have a lot of fun. And he is animated. There's no doubt about it.
All right. Jeff Seever. Okay, so
it's amazing the power that some of these people really do generate. And Bruce looks a little lost, doesn't he?
Yeah, a little bit. Bruce, as we mentioned earlier, a respiratory therapist, father of a son and 3 daughters. Hobbies include Boy Scouts, bowling, traveling, junior coach at Marcel's Olympic Bowl. He tells me you left a 5-7-10 on your birthday, Pan. Is that true?
Pardon me?
Did you leave the 5-7-10 on your birthday?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
So we've got 20 marks for Brockport through 4 frames as Dave Ruth gets back up here to as the anchor bowler of the 4th frame, giving a possibility of 20 marks for Marcel's Olympic Bowl. There you go. So as we go to the 5th, both teams going right at 1,000 pace, which is 200 a man, and they're tied. Marks are tied. Jackson's not generating any speed, is he?
Seems, as you mentioned earlier, can't really find where to put it.
You know,
Right, so looking for 5 in a row. Here's Jeff Phillips. Oh, wow. What a break there.
Well, there you go.
1, 2, 4, 6, 10.
Yeah, that's what happens sometimes when you throw that big power ball. And, of course, on the short oil where the back ends, the last 40 feet of the lane or so are very, very dry. And you can get some reaction like that. Brockport Bowl has a bowler by the name of John Beedham. And Marcel's Olympic Bowl has a bowler by the name of John Howell. Now, these 2 bowlers are regular, nice cover, regular members of their team. Both of them are in Cincinnati bowling in a tournament right now. So Mike Pingryn and Sylvester Sampson get the ball in their place. And here's Sylvester right here. Ooh.
Okay. Plenty of strikes today. Terry Berthold. And he has another one. All right, so here's Jay Nephew on lane 2. He's gone spare, double spare.
Yuck.
Really? 6, 7, 10. And, you know, Pat, we also want to make mention of our fine friends at Lake Beverages, distributors of Bud and Bud Light, for their support of bowling in our area for a long time, and of course with this program right here.
Ooh, all right, he gave it a run. Oh, no doubt about it. Jim Bunn and the staff at Lake Beverage do a great job for all of us bowling proprietors and all the bowlers here in the Rochester area, and our hats are definitely off to them. So here we are, we're midway through the 5th frame, and we've got a virtual tie match between Brockport Bowl and Marcel's Olympic Bowl, Tony, and be interesting to see how the match goes the last 5 frames. See what Bruce does here. Paul Palmer's got strike, spared double. Tell you what,
I'm glad I'm not a pin when Paul throws the
Paul,
ball on there.
not only does he throw it with a lot of velocity, but he's got a lot of turn and a lot of roll on that ball. Rev it up.
Really. Bruce Ernisse.
Get away, Bruce. And here you go. Jeff Seever says to Jeff Phillips, if you can leave it, I can leave it. Yeah, but now the trick is you got to pick it. Dave Root, anchor bowler for Marcel's Olympic Bowl, breaks for 8. 3, 4. Oh, we're gonna have a virtual even match through 5 frames, Tony. Look at that.
It's easy. It's easy.
He loves it. Bowling is fun, isn't it? It doesn't matter what level you bowl on, whether you're just starting out in a youth league or whether you're an adult bowling in these classic leagues. Bowling is bowling and fun is fun.
All right, so we've got 23 marks for Marcel's Olympic Bowl and 25 for Brockport, and what has been an animated and exciting match so far.
No doubt
with
about it.
Lots of strikes, and also we've also tried to show you how to pick the 1, 2, 4, 6, 10. And
Twice.
So we're going to take a timeout for some words of interest from our sponsors, including our fine folks at Lake Beverages. We'll come back, we'll total up the scores, and we'll tell you where everybody stands. We'll do all of that after this. Stay with us. Back at the Men's Travel Classic League show, and Tony Destino and Pat Horner with you. And Pat, we were going over the scores, and you're telling me Brockport's up by about 30 pins, right?
Yeah, it's 29 pin lead for Brockport so far. An interesting match, and as you mentioned, we've seen the 1, 2, 4, 6, 10 left and picked twice. And again, in short oil, what happens is the back ends are so dry that the ball makes a very sharp, violent reaction at the back end, and if you get it a little slow or a little hard and out way wide, that can happen. But you can see the prowess of these bowlers picking it, and we've got a good match right here.
All right, why don't you recap our individual matches, and we'll take a look at the bowlers as we talk about it.
Okay, well, Jeff Phillips has a 41-pin lead over Jack Curran, and I know Jack is chomping at the bit to get back into this match. Sylvester Sampson has a 21-pin lead over Terry Berthold. Sylvester on the left there, and Nephew on the left has a 20-pin lead over Mike Pingryn. And then we go to the third bowlers, where Paul Palmer, with 4 out of 5 strikes, has a 37-pin lead over Bruce Ernisse. There they are right there. And the anchor bowlers, Dave Root and Jeff Seever, almost an even match. Dave Root with an 8-pin lead, 29-pin total in the lead for Brockport, and it's anybody's match with 5 frames to go.
All right, a reminder, our winning team will pick up $300, $100 to our runners-up. We're going to go back to the 6th frame now, and our captains lead us off. For Brockport, that's Jeff Phillips, and for Marcel's Olympic Bowl, that is Jack Curran on your right. And Jack averaging 192, Jeff Phillips averaging 205. All the bowlers now shifting positions, and we're all ready to go. All right, Jeff Phillips, he had the first 4, then left a 1, 2, 4, 6, 10, and picked it. He's back on track with another strike.
Well, as I said, this Brockport Bowl team has really started to come into their own, and on Sunday specifically, they're bowling really well together. And that's very important when you're bowling 5 guys. And they show a lot of enthusiasm, and I'm impressed. Here's Terry Berthold. Catches a break.
All right, we come to you from the in-studio lanes at TV 13 WOKR, and today's program directed by Brian Oberacker. All right, Jack Curran, cross lane at the 6-10. Some sort of mock salute to Jack, huh?
Well, when you watch that release again, if we could watch that release again, you'd find that ball was probably pulled slightly. The 6-8 for the lefty, the 4-9 for the righty are normally a pull. Oh, that's 2 of those on that lane he's almost left. squats twice. You know, he says,
Sylvester
what?
can't believe it.
He says, I can't do any better than that. And you're right, Sylvester, that was a good ball.
All right, so we're back now with Mike Pingryn.
So Mike now with 81 through the 6th frame. Nephew getting an opportunity to pull up, and oops, Sylvester missed a 10-pin. Oh well.
Paul Palmer now up. He went strike, spare, strike, strike, strike. See, 4 in a row. No.
Didn't quite get there. That was it.
Nephew adds his 3rd strike of the match.
Closes the gap on that on the team event.
And now Paul Palmer for his conversion, and makes easy work of that. Bruce Ernisse, and Bruce was telling me that he saw a very small youth bowler. He works as a junior coach over at Marcel's Olympic Bowl. Earlier today, before he came over for the taping, some young bowler made the 5-7-10. He said it was the most unbelievable thing as the ball, going very slowly, rolling over the thumb holes, slid the 5 into the 10, and the ball deflected right into the 7. So many of the bowlers on both of these teams and throughout the Classic Leagues, Pat, working either at the bowling centers for the proprietors or in the youth programs. All these people trying to give something back to bowling.
Well, each and every one of them has been blessed with some God-given ability and some great coaching over the years from some great coaches, and giving it back is a terrific way to spend some time. Well, Jeff Phillips just looks unbeatable today, doesn't he? He threw that one bad shot.
All right, let's see if Sylvester can get a break here. Now that one just came up too much on the head pin.
Well, I think lane 1 has got Sylvester down.
And Terry's a little light this time.
You know, that'll happen to you out there. So that's a good point. As you take a look at the scoreboard, Sylvester's really been around the pocket. Just hasn't been really able to carry all but those 2 strikes. And he chops one. Ouch. Well, you know, sometimes, what I was going to say as we watch a spare conversion by Terry, that you'll get 2 lanes that are as different as these 2 are, and you get frustrated.
Something else about Terry Berthold. I had all these little interesting facts about Terry. He's 42 years old. As you see, Nephew got the double pinochle. And Terry lived and went to school in Utica. And he has an identical twin brother named John. And his mother had 3 sets of twins.
Wow.
How about that?
3 sets?
3 sets of twins.
Now, it's tough enough telling identical twins apart. How do you tell 3 sets apart?
I really don't know.
I bet it's confusing, huh? Jay kind of scratches his head and big smile as he goes 6 out. But, you know, all kidding aside, that's not a good move.
Who's
Paul Palmer with another strike, and they got Terry Berthold hanging. But what happens, what I was talking about with Jay, was 6 out on a strike. You lose 8 pins and count. And that hurts. That's a whole mark you just threw away. So Bruce Ernisse seems to have livened up here in the second half.
And let's see what happens here.
Yeah, look at that power.
Double for Jeff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 37 marks for Brockport. 32 marks for Olympic. Around a 50-pin advantage for Brockport in the team standing as we move into the 8th frame.
They're starting to pull away here and hide. 68 pins. Our expert statistician Al Farmacola tells me 68 pins in the 7th. So Olympic Bulls got their work cut out for them. See him light up on that ball just a hair? You can just tell that tiny little bit of speed really hurt him. On lane 1, he can get away with it. Lane 2, you can't.
Jack Curran. Jack, the director of the Rochester Bowling Association. State director of the YABA. He's on the bowling staff at RIT. He runs a school program at Marcel's Olympic Bowl. Very involved with the game. Great guy.
He's also Bolo the Clown.
Well, I think Bolo may be retired or something, because I haven't seen him do his Bolo act in a while.
Look at it. Sylvester says, no problem. Piece of cake.
All right. There's Terry. Good-natured fun with everybody. Nephew on lane 1. Sends it out. Strange leave there, the 2-8-10.
And a little bit off balance, and I don't think Mike watching Mike in practice, and I've seen Mike bowl before, he's usually much more balanced than he is today. I don't think he's going to like that.
Okay, so Jay goes back to the bench, and Mike Pingryn now try his attempt at converting here.
Okay, good cover.
Bruce Ernisse.
I was going to say, Bruce finally got it going. That gives him one, and then he kind of just pulled that one up. Gives him 112. He's still 20 pins behind Paul Palmer. Oh, he's 30 behind Paul.
They're doing the bash. They're doing the high five.
These guys, I'll tell you what, these guys really do have a lot of fun. He is an animal, isn't he? Chef Seever looked over at us and said he's an animal, and he is. Oh, Bruce.
Now Jeff Seever shakes his head looking at that 6'10" and David Root.
And he's still 10 pins behind Dave Root.
Dave likes golf and reading, and he's single. Bowls 3 times a week. Jeff, a very animated player as well. All right. Here's David.
Well, Tony, about an 80-pin lead now with 2 frames to go for Brockport.
So the work cut out for Marcel's Olympic Bowls team, Jack Curran. And up on the nose again, you know, Jack's just only had 1 strike today so far. Very untypical, but 99. It happens sometimes. And there's probably been the hottest bowler of the day, Jeff Phillips. Saved for shots in the 5th and 8th frames. He's been great.
We're going to have to concede Jeff Phillips' victory over Jack Curran. I guess really the most important match right now is the one between Paul Palmer and Bruce Ernisse, because Marcel's Olympic Bowl cannot win without Bruce beating Paul. Because obviously Jack Curran's going to get beat, and Olympic Bowl's in trouble for total.
Okay, we are winding down, and Sylvester Sampson now.
He's trying to ball. The guys are walking behind him. There's such close quarters here. Sylvester went to take his approach, somebody bumped into him. Boom. Good ball.
There, Sylvester.
So there's
too straight for him.
Well, he went spare, strike, and then open, double. Could have had a lot more today.
Jay looking to get back on track with another strike. He's all up. He had 2 splits in a row, and now 7. So he's trying to find where he should be. Mike Pingryn. Takes care of the 6-pin.
Jay hopping around. You know, the ball returned very close to the players on the left side there, and it does get in your way. It's something you get used to.
Now, Pat, here we are on Saturday, March the 4th, and the travel leagues, both the men and the women, move around on Sundays. And when does your season actually come to a close?
The women finish 2 weeks earlier than we do. The women had bowled bowled 2 Saturdays actually, to accommodate the Rochester Queens tournament. So the women are done 2 weeks before the men are. The men finish the last week of April, and the women finish the second week of April.
All right, so Bruce Ernisse.
Throws a bye, gives him 148.
And 148, right? That hit from Jeff Seever.
That had a lot of noise to it. So Brockport Bowl has 46 marks through 9 frames. They're going to be between 950 and 1,000. And Marcel's Olympic Bowl about 100 pins down. More than that, Al Formicola says. Thank you, Al.
Jack looks frustrated.
Well, like I said, I think he's got a ball that hooks a little bit too much for the condition out here.
Another X for Jeff Phillips.
Jeff Phillips.
240 possibility with 2 more.
How about 10 strikes?
Yeah, 240 and 10 strikes.
Terrific.
But he's got to get the last 2. Jack Curran, cross lane now, at his 10-pin.
They're going crazy.
Smile on everybody's face.
Jack got a mark. He picked a 10-pin. Jack said the old railroad ball. Well, Jeff certainly balled a good game. 229 possible for Jeff Phillips. And 153 for Jack. Not Jack's best game. Whoops. That ball return really does get in the way, doesn't it? Here's Terry Berthold back up. Terry on a double. He's had 2 doubles and another strike. Had 5 strikes. Breaks for 8.
All right, so Sylvester Sampson now.
Well, it's signed Budweiser coming down. Just want to remind all of you, without our good friends at Lake Beverage, Jim Bunn, and all the sales staff at the Lake Beverage distributors of Budweiser and Bud Light. We'd like to thank them very much for their support of this television program and supporting classic bowling in general here in the Rochester area.
And Sylvester tries now for his conversion and completes it. So he'll be in the 180s. 153 already in from Jack Curran. And for Brockport, Jeff Phillips with 228. 195 for Terry Berthold. $184 for Sylvester Sampson.
Well, I think lane one. I think Sylvester was in the right place on that one. I think at lane one, you have to play a little tighter and a little more inside. Lane two, I think you've got room sending it right.
Okay, and Mike Pingryn.
Well, possible 163 for Jay. He had 3 wide open splits in a row on lane one. That'll kill any game.
He ran that one out as far as you could run it out here.
70, he needed that one to win. He wanted that to beat Jay.
Okay.
This is interesting. This could be a clean sweep for Brockport. The only match that's not really in hand right now is the Jeff Seever Dave Root match. We'll have to see how they do.
And Mike Pingryn shuts the door with a 170.
Possible 163 for Jay, so it's 3 consecutive points for the Marcel Olympic Bowl team.
And 163 for Jay Nephew.
Okay, Paul Palmer, possible 222 if he strikes out.
2 pin stays, but he got out of that 7. Bruce Ernisse. Six pin late in the channel, Pat.
Just
no help on the 10. Bruce couldn't believe it.
Yeah, he made the shot he wanted to. That lane just doesn't finish as hard as the other lane.
So now Bruce moves left on the approach to try to convert on that 10. And he got it. .212 for Paul Palmer. And with that 212, that means 8:05 already for Brockport, with Jeff Seever still to complete his game.
And as we've seen over the past few years, this is not the easiest shot in the world. And I'll tell you what, Jeff Seever gets the first 2. His team's going to shoot 1,000 scratch, and that is a good score on this studio lanes.
Bruce Ernisse finishes at 168. And Jeff is
83.
Stuck with the 610 now.
Well, Dave Root needs a mark to avert the shutout. Well, if he can pick that 5-pin, he'll at least get his team a point here. You know, there's nothing worse than getting beat, but you don't want to get shut out. You can't lose every single match plus total. Oh.
1 pin. So 171 is where Jeff Seever ends, and it's 976.
I think that's an excellent
for
score.
the Brockport Bowl squad.
That is an excellent score, Tony.
As they run away with it. David Root for the 5. He can finish at 192.
We're going to shoot about 860. Well, they really didn't. The Marcellus Olympic Bowl team really did not get a lot of breaks today. But a lot of strikes by the Brockport Bowl team, Tony, I think was the difference.
Al Formicola is so proud of his scoring, he even autographed the score.
188.
188 for David Root. And that'll make the Marcellus Olympic Bowl team finish with 856. Panda,
Not,
what is that?
that's not
120 pins.
Yeah, that was it was really a massacre, actually. I gotta tell you, Brockport Bowl. But Brockport Bowl really did. Tony got a lot of strikes. They really did, and that's the difference in the match. Right?
And obviously, one game doesn't make a season. Anything?
No, not at all. Not at all. Both these teams shot over 3,200 last week.
That's right. All right, we'll take our final timeout. We'll come back and talk with our bowlers and present our checks right after this. Okay, we're back here, and it was a pretty exciting match as we have cameras being moved around and every sorts of things.
That's
going
okay.
on.
They got me tied up in my microphone cord here, Tony. This is great. No, really. This was a good, exciting match.
It sure was. There were a lot of strikes, as we know, and a couple of excellent conversions, and I've got the checks. I'll give them to you, and you can talk with our bowler.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the captain of the Brockport team, Jeff Phillips, and Jeff, 228. Good game.
Oh, thanks.
Well, we mentioned this was your first time on television, and you know, you performed well. You hit a whole bunch of strikes, and explain the difference in these two lanes, because there is quite a bit. You know,
Well, lane 1 here is much tighter than lane 2.
it's been like that forever too. It's been like that forever.
Took me a while to find out.
Well,
once I did.
the 1, 2, 4, 6, 10. Interesting leave.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. You know,
I've left it before. So.
I've seen you leave it before. I've seen you, and I've also seen you pick it before, as you did. Jeff, here's $300 for winning, and as I said, this Brockport Bowl team deserves a big hand. These guys have been bowling great. Really, you guys are tough.
Thanks.
Really, you guys are on a roll.
Thanks.
Maybe you'll win the second half. It'll be interesting. We had North Park Lanes win the first half of the men's league, and they're brand new in the league this year. And you guys are leading the second half, and they're brand new in the league this year. That's terrific for bowling, terrific for classic bowling, and nice to see you guys doing so well.
Thanks a lot,
Congratulations. Okay. And now I've got Jack Curran, who, Jack, this guy killed you today.
Well, not only today, every day I meet him, he does. There's no let up with this guy.
He's a tiger, isn't he? Don't you wish you had you maybe had some of your youth back? to
That's
give him a
right.
run?
About 30 years to do it.
You'd get him, man. I know, Jack. Jack, well, here's $100, and that's not chopped liver. That's on behalf of Lake Beverage. And
Thank you very much, and we want to thank Lake Beverage and Budweiser for this and all the other sponsors they're doing for bowling.
thank you, Jack and Jeff. And you got to see Paul Palmer made his debut. He came back from youth bowling. He was on a youth bowling show and comes back, and seems to me he looks a little bigger than he was when he was a kid.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
A little bit bigger, not too bad though.
But,
No, we just pick on him.
he's a good bowler.
He
Real
sure
good bowler.
is a good bowler. And Jay Nephew bowled well today, and Dave Root and Bruce Ernisse, you know, the whole gang. Sylvester, poor Sylvester, you almost left 2 7-10s on lane 1. Did you see that?
I know, the poor guy.
It'll do it to you.
I know.
I'll tell you, it'll scare you. Tony, you want to come back in? There's Sylvester.
Yeah, there was.
Smile. Those 7-10s aren't that bad. Yes, they are.
And as we
Thank
know,
you, Dave.
Pat ought to know.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. I left a few of those in my day. That's why these guys are bowling on the show, and all I'm doing is talking. I'll tell you that
okay,
right
buddy.
now.
That's all right.
Well, listen, you know, coming up next month, we've got the ladies, and that's always a good show. And then the Battle of the Sexes. The men finally beat the women last time for the first time in about six or 7 tries. So the ladies will be back, and then the Battle of the Sexes, and maybe Spuds McKenzie might make another debut. It'll be
Well,
fun.
we want to congratulate all of our bowlers who are with us today, and a reminder to you to stick around, because later today here on 13 we'll have the Pro Bowlers Tour coming your way. But we've got to run for now. So for our teams from Marcellus Olympic Bowl and Brockport Bowl, today's champion, and for Pat Horner, I'm Tony Destino. Say thanks for joining us, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. The Greater Rochester Area Bowling Proprietors Association has presented the Greater Rochester Area Men's Travel League. Today's competition was brought to you by Lake Beverages, distributors of Budweiser and Bud Light.